The pre-dawn silence of the Black Sea was shattered at 3 o'clock local time as the persistent hum of the Russkaya compressor station was replaced by the thunderous roar of incoming precision-guided munitions. Across the dark horizon of Russia's Krasnodar Krai, the jagged silhouette of the facility, the literal heart of the Turk Stream and Blue Stream networks, was instantly illuminated by the brilliant white glare of secondary explosions emanating from reinforced turbine hulls. On the ground, the rhythmic churning of coastal winds was drowned out by the scream of emergency sirens as specialized long-range strike assets, reportedly utilizing a window of electronic vulnerability, hit the very nodes that sustain the final energy bridge between the Russian Federation and southern Europe. Satellite imagery, later scrutinized by regional observers, confirmed blackened scars across the Beregovaya and Kazakhia stations, where the primary pumping mechanisms for billions of cubic meters of natural gas now sit silent. This was not simply a localized tactical strike. It was the effective decapitation of the last major artery of Russian energy flowing into the Western world. According to Russian state media and official statements released by the Kremlin, the primary actor behind this engagement claims that the strike represents a coordinated act of international terrorism and a direct assault on global energy security. Iranian officials, moving in diplomatic lockstep with Moscow, claimed that the facilities were engaged in routine civilian energy transit and that the attacks utilized Western-provided intelligence and hardware to bypass dense regional air defenses. Military spokesmen in Moscow stated that the method employed involved high-altitude precision drones, and that the outcome was a deliberate attempt to force a total collapse of the Russian energy economy during a period of acute global volatility. The primary actor maintains that this action signifies a desperate attempt by Kyiv and its sponsors to drag the North Atlantic Alliance into a direct kinetic confrontation by sabotaging infrastructure that remains vital to the industrial survival of several European nations. According to reports from Russian news agencies, the strategic intent of the strike was to trigger a humanitarian crisis by severing winter heating supplies, thereby testing the limits of European solidarity. But the story quickly became far more complicated. Before we break down the specific telemetry of these drone interceptions and the classified sensor data currently being analyzed by the Pentagon to determine if these strikes originated from within Russian borders or from external actors, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss the latest dramatic developments shaping global geopolitics. We are committed to bringing you the most measured and expert analysis of these rapidly evolving events as the energy architecture of the Eurasian continent undergoes a fundamental and perhaps irreversible shift. And your support ensures we can continue to provide this depth of coverage during times of escalating international crisis. According to U.S. Department of State officials and independent intelligence analysts, the narrative of a simple external strike is a misrepresentation of a complex reality involving internal Russian systemic failures or potential false flag operations. U.S. authorities stated that the disruption of the Turk Stream and Blue Stream networks was the result of a chain reaction triggered by poorly maintained infrastructure and the accidental activation of internal safety protocols. Analysts noted that the defense relied on the Russian Black Sea Bastion network, but regional reports claimed that air defense systems were oddly silent during the engagement, suggesting a period of high-stakes electronic warfare or an insider breach. To understand the technical context, one must recognize how modern pipeline sensors operate. These are sophisticated fiber optic monitoring systems designed to detect external vibrations or pressure drops in milliseconds. If these systems were bypassed or disabled prior to the kinetic impact, it suggests a level of access that standard long-range strikes would struggle to achieve. Between these narratives lies a complex reality that analysts are still working to understand. Why does the Turk Stream system and its associated compressor stations carry such immense strategic weight in this burgeoning confrontation? The answer is the survival of Central and Southern Europe's industrial core. As the Nord Stream pipelines remain at the bottom of the Baltic and the Druzhba oil line faces persistent outages, Turk Stream had become the solitary bridge for Russian gas into nations like Hungary, Slovakia, and Austria. The target, specifically the Russkaya station, is significant because it possesses a capacity of over 31 billion cubic meters per year, making it the central nervous system for the southern energy corridor. Attacking or threatening this location carries strategic weight because it forces the primary actor to either accept the total loss of its European energy leverage or risk a more aggressive posture to secure its remaining export routes. By targeting this infrastructure, the message was clear. The era of Russian energy being used as a strategic wedge in European politics is over. The cascading consequences of this shutdown began to ripple through the international system within minutes of the final explosion. Immediate military reaction was observed as the Russian Ministry of Defense announced a heightened state of readiness for its Black Sea fleet, while neighboring Turkey scrambled fighter jets to patrol its maritime economic zone. Regional governments, particularly in Budapest and Bratislava, immediately declared energy emergencies as storage levels, already projected to average only 22% by late March, bottomed out. This mobilization triggered a chain reaction where insurance premiums for Black Sea cargo quadrupled within 6 hours, effectively halting the movement of non-essential trade. That spike in energy insecurity has consequences far beyond the borders of Russia. In the global markets, natural gas futures surged by 28% in a single trading session, while Brent crude breached the $95 mark on fears of a wider escalation. Financial costs climbed. Shipping rates surged. Industrial expenses skyrocketed. Diplomatic channels are currently operating under intense pressure as the United Nations calls for an emergency session to prevent a maritime war, while in the United States, domestic political reaction has seen sharp calls for a total naval escort of energy shipments. That political friction has immediate consequences for the stability of global markets. The Russian government maintains that the shutdown of Turkstream was a criminal act of war that will be met with a symmetrical response against Western infrastructure. The United States and its partners maintain that the incident is a symptom of Russia's own declining control over its strategic assets and its willingness to weaponize energy during a crisis. As the smoke settles over the charred turbines of the Ruskaya station, the seizure of the strategic initiative by those seeking to decouple Europe from Russian gas leaves a vacuum that other powers are already rushing to fill. The balance of power in Eurasia remains precariously thin, with the potential for miscalculation at an all-time high. Will this shutdown remain an isolated incident, or is it the beginning of something far larger? Stay tuned for further updates as this situation continues to develop. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss the latest dramatic geopolitical developments shaping the world.